For those of you who haven't met me during this weekend, my name is Roel Spruit, and most of you may know me as Woofser from Elysian. Well, most of you don't want to be pretentious. But, before I begin, I would like to make a few apologies. First, I haven't shaven this morning. Second, unlike Francisco, this presentation wasn't rehearsed at all, wasn't written down. Anything can change, and I've just finished it, so if you excuse me. And I look like crap because I have a hangover. Okay, I'm going to talk a bit about Elysian today, and after that I'm going to talk about BlenderArtists.org, which is an evaluation of Elysian. Okay, that's done already. Okay, what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what happened to Elysian this year, or more precisely, what didn't happen to Elysian this year. And after that, I'm going to talk a bit about BlenderArtists.org, what it is, how far we are in the process of getting it up. And after that, you can ask some questions and stuff, and we'll have a community session thing, I think, something like that. In the meantime, if you have questions during my presentation, just shout out. I have no idea where I am in my presentation anyway, so I don't mind. Okay, what happened to Elysian this year? We've been busy this year to try to get Elysian to a more stable platform. And the first and the most important step for us was to get the finances of Elysian stable, and so we have enough money all year round, because it takes money to run a site.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So the first step in getting our finances up and running is to get our own account. Before that, we paid for everything from Elysian ourselves. Sometimes another administrator paid, like Stefano Soleri, he isn't here today. He paid for some stuff. Sometimes we came begging to Tom to give us some money. Can we please put up some banners so we can have some income? And all that money we can put on one account now, in which all the money comes in, and we can spend it. The second step was to actually get an income, and to do this we experimented a bit with banner ads, much to the dismay of all our users. And some of you may know AdSense. Who doesn't know AdSense? Okay, a few. Yeah, fine. Anyway, AdSense is a service by Google. Like everybody is a service from Google. And they give you the opportunity to place banner ads on your site, and you won't have to do anything, just place them on your site, and money will just come rolling in. That's our kind of service. Easy, come on. I have some preparations, okay, yeah. So, we were hoping a banner ads would provide us with a bit of a stable income, and actually it did. More than we thought, actually. We get about 250 to 300 euros a month, just by 2 banner ads we have. One banner ad on the forum overview, and one banner ad on the topic you are viewing at the time. So we thought that would go down during the times where people would click on a banner just to support us or something, but actually it didn't, and it's stayed stable, and we've been running 3 months now with a stable income of 250 to 300 euros, and that's more than enough for us.
Yeah. Do you have statistics on what kind of ads people click on? Or is that something only Google has?
Yeah, there's some kind of magical thing they do, but I have no idea how they calculate how much money you get in. It's not a stable thing like one click is 50 cents or something. really strange, but I don't care as long as we do get the money. So, since we had a stable income now, we can actually cover our hosting costs. We paid, I should say, about 100 euros a month in hosting costs. And that was for, I believe, 500 gigabytes traffic a month, which we didn't make by a long shot, so it was more than enough for us. And also the rental of the server, because the server wasn't ourselves. We rented it from the hosting provider. Okay, so we had a stable income, and we thought, well, all this money is like really nice, and where can we get some more? So we put up a PayPal button on our site to see if people would donate some money to us, just so we can have some extra money each month and save up for service costs, and maybe in the future even we're thinking of sponsoring weekend challenges or contests, or give out prizes for stuff. All this really needs stuff. And actually, so AdSense covered our hosting, PayPal covered our trip to Hawaii. Oh, sorry, my trip to Hawaii. Beat you to it. Okay, so that was the finance overview of this year. I lost my note. Okay, yeah. Oh, what I've forgotten. The PayPal income. We placed the button on our site in July, I think, and we have gotten about 300 euros from donations during that time. About 21 donations, which is not a spectacular amount compared to AdSense, but it's a little extra, and we can do fun stuff with it later on. So that's all good. And also we've linked the donation system. Well, linked, it's all manual, but to a higher ranking on the Elysian site. So someone who donates 10 euros or more gets a higher rank on the site, and in the future we can use that to maybe give extra features to those users, or disable the banner ads because they've donated, and so that's really nice. Okay, that was the finance overview of this year. Second thing we did this year was all technical, and the main thing was just 2 weeks ago or something, we bought our own 19-inch rack server, which was a real bonus for us because, as I said before, we rented the server before, and also it was hosted in America, and both Timothy and I, Timothy Kanters, the other administrator of the site, live in Holland. So if we want to go to the server, our account will be empty. So we bought our own server, and we thought, okay, we have our own server, we need to place it somewhere, and that's called co-location. You place your site in a rack with someone who has a really good internet connection. And so we moved it to Daemon. And actually we pay less hosting costs now than before, and we get a lot more. We now pay 75 euros a month, and we get 2 terabytes of traffic each month. Woohoo! That's a lot of porn hosting. Yeah. Yeah. So with all that traffic, we can do fun stuff in the future, like host more stuff, host images, host animations, and all that kind of stuff. Blend files. We can do everything with it. So I thought I'd show you our server, and we actually named her Suzanne. Those of you who are slightly into Elysian know that our current server is called Noodles for whatever reason. So we called our new server Suzanne, and that's it. It's this is not the co-location facility, by the way. This is my bedroom. Yeah. And with a new server comes a new box. Woohoo. Two for the price of one. So that was all technical, and now that we have all the technical stuff sorted out, we thought we need more functionality. And actually, to those who were here last year, the following talk is kind of like the same as last year, because we didn't do anything this year. Last year I was standing here with all kinds of cool ideas about what we could do with Elysium. And Timothy was here too, and he said, yeah, I've arranged with my school that he could have this graduation project be upgrading Elysium and adding new features. So we thought, okay, that's cool and all, but alas, both Timothy and I have a serious problem called procrastination. And eventually Timothy even gave up his graduation project and changed to another project because he was kind of bored with Elysium, if you will. So then we thought, okay, we have a problem, nothing is happening. So I started getting more involved in the technical side of Elysium. And that's how we got a few things done. We added a new forum to the site, which isn't a huge technical achievement, but it's part of our new plan to structure Elysium more as a power user facility also, because we have a lot of users, and most of those users are 12-year-olds sitting at home. And with 12-year-olds come a lot of dirty words, and a lot of swearing, and a lot of talking about politics and religion. And we thought, okay, that's all pretty cool. That gives us a nice job to do all day. But we also need a place where real professional users of Blender can come, ask for opinions, and get very good criticism. Not just, wow, I love your image and how did you do it, and you are the greatest. But actually, okay, that's a really cool image, but you can do this and this and this and this to change it. And we've chosen to add a new forum for this because we were afraid that new users and power users would mix up a lot. And actually the new users would drown out all the posts made by professional users who really need it. And not that I'm saying that new users don't need criticism, but there's a small difference about what you can tell a new user and what you can tell a power user. So we've chose to add a new forum. Another bit. What that? We did do 7, yeah. That's like 2 clicks, so even Martin can do it. Actually, he did do it. But so we did another thing this year. We added image attachments to our forum, which was a really good idea from us, because a lot of new users, which I said before, use crappy hosting sites to place their images, who if they want to critique on an image or just want to show you an image. And most of the time when a few hundred people look at one picture on geocities.com, just for instance, it will not hold out. So we added image attachments. So that means that users can actually attach images to their posts, and the images will be hosted on our server, which is a real good thing, because if our server goes down, you can see that post anyway, so who cares? And actually we have about 90 megabytes at this moment, just with one directory of posted images. So we hope that picks up, because we have a lot of bandwidth now, and it seems like a handy thing to have. Okay, that was functionality this year, just for a reason. Okay, just a little thing about the user base. We administrators of Elysium have a real strange thing with statistics. So I made a little script to get some statistics out of the database. And actually this shows that the last year we had more user growth than any year before that, excluding 2002, of course, when not the number went bankrupt. I'm counting everybody who has made a post. So even this isn't even counting people who just register their name and don't post anything on the forum. This is everyone with one post or more. And so that was really cool. So we're still popular, even though we don't do crap on our site. So we got another statistic which showed we have around about 15,000 users. So we thought, okay, how many users have posted? So actually only half of them have ever posted. So the rest is either just watching images being registered for some reason, or they are spam bots, as Martin said, automatic systems who log in and steal your email address to send you Viagra spam. So 7,000 users is still not bad. We're happy with it. But unfortunately, as I said before, with more users comes more problems. That's why we had to split the forum to focus critique and stuff. So, I even made a nice graph of this. Ooh. This is the user growth starting from, 1978, but that's Timothy. Starting from 2002 up to now per month. So, and you see there's a slight curve in it, and it's still growing for some reason. People still like us. Yeah, ooh. Actually, we made it ourselves. We just found a little bit of this. It's a curve deform statistic. So this concludes my little bit about Elysian and what we did last year. At this point, if you have any questions about Elysian and its current state, you can ask me, because before I'm at the next topic, I would have forgotten what I've said now. Yeah. Actually, yeah, the chat box on IRC, we have a chat box on IRC on freedom.net, and it's not officially affiliated with Elysian, but we the same people maintain it. And we used to have a Java chat applet on our site where you could chat on IRC and instantly get contact with other users. That wasn't a joke, by the way. Okay. Yeah? Okay. But because we were restructuring or trying to restructure Elysian, we had to take down a lot of features to get only a forum. So Elysian is only a forum now, and we've taken all the pieces down that weren't being maintained anyway. So that included the Java chat box, and when I will be talking about BlenderArtists, which will be starting now, I will be telling you about how we moved the chat box to BlenderArtists.org and not Elysian, because they will be merged eventually. So the chat box will still be around. Actually, it is around now. So we hope we can help users like that straight away. Any other questions? Okay. BlenderArtists.org. Some people may have or haven't heard of it. Is our attempt to restructure Elysian to become more professional, for one, more maintainable too, which is the important reasons why Elysian is pretty crap right now, because it's all coded by Timothy and it has no official backend system. Nobody can work with it. So we decided, okay, we can do this at the same time as Elysian, but we need a nice new name, because Elysian is not the most descriptive name of a site for 3D users. It's a nice name, but not very descriptive. So we thought BlenderArtists.org, which is what it is. Yeah. So, BlenderArtists.org, it is our intention to help users use Blender. That's our motto, you know. But first we have to know who will visit our site and what will be that defines the function of our site. What do we need on it? So these is a crude simplification of our user base. At first we have the passerby, someone who accidentally stumbles upon our site. And I'll tell later what he wants on this site. The second group is the regular users, and we've divided those in normal hobby users and power users. Of course, there are a lot of things in between that, but we'll leave that out at the moment. And the third group who visits BlenderArtists is a contributor, so either a moderator or someone who adds content for our site. So those are the three groups. So the passerby, he visits our site and thinks, okay, what the hell is this site about? I have no idea what this is. What is Blender? That's the main reason. That's the main question. The second thing is, okay, I know what Blender is now, but I want to do that too. Of course, if you see Blender images, you think, I want to do that. So that defines three of our first functions of the site, which is quick access to information about Blender. What is Blender? A little bit of something about the history. The second function is a gallery system, which was actually the main function of Elysian in the early days, but it's pretty much down now. So that will show users what Blender is and what you can do with it. The second function is getting started. One of the most important things, one of the most difficult things to do with Blender is getting started, as everybody knows. And you need like something very small to tell you, start here. If you follow a few of these steps, you will be an okay user and you will manage with all tutorials. So that's the first function, getting started with Blender. Okay, the second group, the regular user. The regular user visits BlenderArtists, and he has three questions in mind. How do I use a feature? Because even regular users don't know everything about Blender, so they still need help. The second reason they come to BlenderArtists.org is they want to show you what they've made with Blender, which is understandable. And the third reason they're just coming to hang out. Actually, most of the posts actually on Elysian are not about Blender. Unfortunately. They are just people discussing everyday issues with each other, discussing their love life and stuff. We don't know why, but people seem to like to come together online and talk about each other's private lives. And we're okay with that as long as they do it in the right section on the site. Yeah, off topic. Which is actually off topic, yeah, it has become more on topic actually. Yeah. Why are you here? Why are you talking about Blender all the time? So that's the first function of our site, chilling. So these three define three other sections of our site. Tutorial section. Tutorials are just small write-ups of how do I use one specific feature of Blender. The second thing is look what I made, and we'll have a personal gallery system. That's not up at this moment, but as I told you before, we have a lot of bandwidth to spare and a big server where we can place all kinds of stuff on. And actually we want to become a sort of image hoster. People will come to BlenderArtists.org, make an account, and they can place a limited amount of images on their profile, on their gallery. And we'll have like a rotating thing where people can, where your image is on the front page of BlenderArtists and things like that. And you can maintain your own little gallery, which is really nice. I am actually thinking about it, yeah. But I'll get back to that later. Okay, so I talked about the gallery. The gallery will be separated from the personal gallery, but eventually you can do something like browse personal galleries and think, oh, this is a really cool image. We want this to represent the artwork that is made with Blender. And you can place it in the high-end gallery, so to speak. The high-end gallery is just a small amount of images just to show how good Blender is and what kind of cool stuff you can do with it. So the third function is forum, which has been our main function for quite some time now. And of course that will be a very prominent section of the site still. Okay, then we have one more group to go. Which is the contributor. These aren't a lot of people, probably, because well, not everybody wants to get involved in Blender that much. They just want to make nice images. And actually we don't want a lot of contributors, not too many, so we can maintain who has access to what. And I'll talk to you about that later, about how access works in our new site. Question? No. These are contributors to the site. So content writers, tutorial writers, or script makers who can upload their script to our site, or it's about everyone. So how can I help? And the most important function of BlenderArtists is access to backend. We actually have a backend now. So we can, a really nice backend, the same as blender3d.com. So we could copy a lot of stuff from blender3d.com. And those of you who are familiar with it, it's called Typo3, which is a content management system. And with Typo3 we can give specific users access to certain parts of our site, which they can modify. So this takes away the task of adding content to the site. It takes it away from the administrators and lays it more on the community itself, which is really nice, because one of the big drawbacks of Elysian was the lack of content and lack of updates, and eventually you will have a New Year's greeting from like 2 years ago. Just as an example. So I'll show you a bit of the backend later on. Okay, so we've defined all these functions now, which are the basic functions. Of course, you can expand on it. We will expand on it with things like the knowledge base, like he said. And we can think of hundreds of thousands of cool things in which we can help the community do what they want to do. And the main reason is we want to teach and communicate with some other.
How do you see your relation towards blender.org? Do you want to compete with it? Or
it's an interesting question. I've been thinking about it lately too, because, well, we are using the same backend system. Our menu looks a lot like the blender3d.com menu, because it's the same menu. We actually stole the code, yeah. So borrowed it. What? Oh. Actually, the uniform the design part ties into what Yuri asked, our relationship to blender3d.com and specifically the Blender Foundation in itself. As the biggest user site at the moment about Blender, well, I think we're the biggest, we have a big responsibility to maintain the community, to prevent what happened to Blender.nl in the early days when another number went down. Everybody went like, oh, where's the site? I was just talking, you know.
On BlenderMania too.
BlenderMania too?
And they were hosting images.
Yeah, I know what BlenderMania is. It died.
And then we lost all images.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay. Which was an image hoster for Blender images in the early days.
For the old parts. For the old parts. For the old parts.
Yeah, for Martin. Where was I? My God, yeah, relationship between us and the foundation. Of course, we communicate a lot with the Blender Foundation and Tom specifically about what should we do with this nasty Blender community all the time. Yeah, exactly. You want a few users or something? Yeah. Here, have you. We have specifically chosen to stay separate from the foundation. It was not our idea to merge with the foundation, which is where you're getting at the moment. Well, which you have gotten on in the history.
No, I mean, I think it's not clear.
No.
On one hand, you're proud of your users you're getting every year, but I think more than half of them are just sent away from .org to your site.
Which is
and
true,
it's not clear, is it the official tutorial part of Blender, or is it they manage themselves tutorial part of Blender? And the foundation doesn't want to state any official comment on that, and Elysium always claims to be independent. So I think it's not clear.
Okay, but it's very hard to tell people that you're independent somehow. How can you tell that you're independent? We can have a different design. We will have a different design than Blender 3D.com.
Taking money from the foundation to finance your site to say you're independent. I agree.
Yeah, but as I said, we've changed the finances now, and we're financially independent from the foundation. So we don't want your money.
Administrators that are administrators at Elysium are also administrators
Yeah.
at forums of the foundation.
That's true.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not my tutor.
No, but it doesn't make it clear. So
It's true.
Makes it blurred.
Yeah, I agree. The boundary between what is official about Elysium is not very clear. We are not in any way official, but we just look very official because everybody comes to us. And actually, the foundation. Just a second. Now, let me talk. Wrap up? Okay. Oh man. Oh crap. Yeah, that's a really nice end slide. What was I going to say? The foundation specifically chose not to have their own community site. So,
I can say one thing about it. What I think is the Blender.org community, not Blender.com. Blender.org community is everybody who wants to be involved with development. There can be artists, writers, software developers. That's the only community I would like to have on the Blender.org website. But the forums are for people who want to be involved, or who want to get in touch with the people who are involved. That's the thing we can do. Then we can have the documentation up to date, make sure that what we do with Blender is properly communicated. We can have a lot of services for people to download tutorials or little movies. You can have a little gallery. You should have a little bit of a show off, because it is the first site many people will find. And that's pretty nice to separate from an artist website. I don't think, and that's overlap, I know, there should be more artist services on Blender.org, especially for the more professional artists or for the professional network we would like to build. But that's still separate. Is that sufficient answer?
the separation also prevents, if anything should happen to the foundation, which I hope it doesn't, but we'll still have a community website. So there are advantages to being unofficial, so to speak. But I agree, we will have to think about how we can make that line more specific.
the Blender.org is about the Blender Foundation, it's about the open source project Blender, and only when all Blender artists say, we are going to make our own version, and we're going to set up CBS and projects, and we're going to attract developers, and we're going to have big conferences, and all that kind of stuff. Then there's a little bit of confusion.
Yeah, we'll have conferences
then
where you can drink beer before 5.
Huh?
Okay. So I agree it's blurred, and I don't have a good answer right now how we can fix that. Oh, Q&A. Yeah. Any questions? Actually, I will show you. Well, I have the answer to that right here. Now. Don't stare at it. It's very ugly at the moment. Which is another excuse, so I'll end the way I've begun. This looks really crappy right now. We know. The image is pretty nice, yeah, I agree. Yeah, sure. Oh. Oh, that's... Yeah, okay. So this is news, and this is all non-static, so to speak. So we can finally have a nice news system in the back. We have art, which is like just a compilation of nice images. Wow, art. Which is nothing like the thing. Well, it's kind of like the thing Blender 3D does. But the advantage to this kind of gallery as opposed to the Blender.org gallery is because Blender.org changes all the time. And if you remember, Blender.nl in the early days had just one gallery with a static amount of images. And if you wanted to show somebody how good Blender is, you can always go to blender.nl/gallery, and you have a nice place where you can show that. So this isn't meant to be dynamic or changed very often. This is just to have a nice place where you are sure there are nice images to show to your friends. Okay, so those are images. We also have some animations. We have the same thing with animations. They're all hosted on BlenderArtists, by the way. Huh? This is like the high-end stuff, man. We are just waiting for that damn Orange movie to be finished.
Look at how we are putting everything online on this camera.
The videos.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You got the animation from Elysian and you just give him them back. Thanks for borrowing. So, yeah, I'll explain something about the different sections. We have a tutorial section, which is slightly different from the one at Blender 3D.
Yeah. Modern tutorial categories or tutorial section. For me, it's better model library, and a snippet from code to script. It's something.
You mean something like
we have a central point of model library.
That was our idea too. So we have a section for tutorials, which we hope will be maintained by the community eventually. So they're pretty static right now, and you have a nice overview of the difficulty level of every tutorial. So it's just a nice list. I mean, Blender.org has the same thing, but has more explanation to it. And I don't think it's meant to be totally complete. It's just a start to show you around. We hope this will be a complete list of every tutorial on the internet about Blender. And it's slightly done, and it's searchable, and all that kind of stuff. So we thought, okay, we have that thing. Oh, we can do the same with scripts too. So contributors to the site can actually upload scripts to us, put a version number on it, and say, okay, this is my script. and you have a nice list of all the scripts with the description underneath it. And so that's a central source for scripts. Because actually we didn't have that until recently when Blender.org implemented about the same thing. Something noticeable, the forum. What the hell is happening? Wow, this looks nothing like the old design, which has a very technical reason that the Typo 3 content management system we are using has no good plugin module for a very advanced forum like Elysium. So at the moment we're still using the old forum, this is just a link to. But in the future we will write our own plugin, or Bart will write our own plugin, to have the forum like in this space, and it will be all much nicer as well. So community, which is more like a communication place with chat box with a nice Java pickup. And it defaults to the chat room on the Keynote. And I can put in the same group. It should work. It's a while, but I don't know if this works on here, but yeah, but it's What? What are you talking about? You're making me confused. I have internet actually, usually. But trust me, this will work at home. There'll probably be some okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's we have a special section about Apple because everybody uses Apple at Blender. So anyway, trust me, it works. And we have a link section to provide links to other very useful sites if you're using Blender. Which also doesn't look like the design we want for this, but this will all be changed in the future. This is all just a work in progress. We just wanted to prove to everybody that we're doing something. Because I promised we would have the site up before the conferences. Well, it's actually up before the conference is over. No, that's probably not it. Probably. No, we're not related in any way to the Blender.org site. So anyway, this is all very basic still, but at least the most important thing is, which I will show you. Well, it's not that interesting. Trust me, we have a nice backend. Okay, I'm thinking way too much into it. But we can plug in new functionality like that. People already have written cool things, so probably there is already a knowledge base plugin for Typo 3. And this provides us with a lot of stability and a lot of accessibility to other users. So that's the main reason why we switched. Questions about that?
Yeah. Besides the fact that you're using the same content management system that Blender.org is using, are you utilizing the same instance, the same server, or is it a completely different server?
No, it's a different server.
Yeah. And do you plan on keeping like visual consistency and front-end user consistency, coordinate that with Art or other people from Blender.org?
You mean if the front end will look like anything like
the usability sheen, let's call it that way.
Well, it's the same backend. We can change a lot about the backend. It's just a bit technical thing.
Well, it's a political decision. It's not a technical decision. Because you said you're independent.
Well, we can change the back end in any way. Do you mean the front end or the back end? Do you mean this or do you mean the front end? Okay. No, we're not trying to look like Blender 3D. Well, on purpose we don't try to look like Blender 3D. No? Because then it will be very much blurred what's the official site and what isn't. So other than the menu, we will not try to look like Blender 3D. Any other questions? Yeah.
I noticed sometime last year you took out all the other categories like the tutorials and all that sort of stuff because they weren't being maintained. What makes you think they're going to be maintained now?
That's a very interesting question. This site is supposed to float on contributions from the community. And actually the reason why people didn't contribute to Elysian, I think, the main reason, is because we didn't have any way to do that. The back end was just, I mean, just to give you an example, when we wanted to put a news item on the site, we had to edit the MySQL database manually, put it in the database. Like, we don't want users to have access to a MySQL database directly. You can understand. So, I agree we have to do a lot of raising awareness that you can help with this site. And actually, there are a lot of threads on Elysian which have the same functionality as this. There is a script list thread. There is links to other sites. There's a tutorial list thread. So apparently some people want to help. So we hope we can transfer them from a silly thread to something like this. Yeah.
So one of the ways that you may help yourself is just putting a button to report dead links. Quite often the tutorial sites, you click on something and it goes nowhere. It's just a matter of ease. If you've got a button there.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing. And that raises another interesting point, that this site only has back-end users. To explain, you have back-end where you can add articles and stuff, and you have a front end which is like Elysian where you can log in with the login name. We don't have a login system yet, so we don't have actual users of the site because it's pretty much static content at this time. People don't have to post anything. So we don't have a member system, so we are trying to prevent at this moment that we will put anything in that somebody can access without a user account. Because if we put a button here, report that link, somebody will write a very nice script that pushes that button 100,000 times a second, and our very nice server will die down. So all that functionality will come, will be very cool and very handy, but only after we've implemented a user system, a front-end user system. No, but Elysian, if you don't log on Elysian, you can do a lot more than browse the site and you know? Understand?
If I read the tutorials sticky, and I start clicking on links, half of them will go to dead links.
Yeah, true.
And I think you can clean that up, or the users can send you a link.
No, I agree the button is a must-have. And besides the button, we'll also have a team that maintains the link list, like or the tutorial list, like it does in the thread. So you'll have both have users who can report that links, and also a team who regularly checks if all the links are working, or maybe we can do it automatically.
Or just start a forum about reporting stuff about the site. People can have that links in the forum.
Something like that.
The forum part.
Yeah.
Because you need to log in the forum.
But you need to log into your button anyway.
Yeah. But then you can report that link or anything at the forum.
Last question.
Script. So there's a link to the site where the creator of the script appears, or you sort of copy my own script.
It's a bit mixed at the moment. By the way, before Tom mentions this, all these tutorial links were stolen from Blender.org. If you see, and in the format, we have some video tutorials, and actually we've copied those tutorials to our own site because we have a lot of bandwidth. Why won't we use it? So those are hosted video tutorials. That's linked to our own host, so to speak. The HTML ones are links to external sites. In the future, I hope we can mix that a little, so we'll both have a tutorial list which points to external tutorials, but also people who've written tutorials specific for BlenderArtists.org. And the scripts are hosted on our site. You can upload them in the backend. Backend users can upload them.
Might be an idea to connect the forums in a way that, for example, people I don't have a tutorial listed on the website. If you don't mail people and don't make forms, but you can post it on the tutorial form.
Yeah.
You can have the moderator of the forum, just picking the best stuff, and you know, that's public.
Oh, it's public. Yeah, that's the main advantage. Oh. Took away on my entire point right now. Yeah. Because we have internet or an email address right now where you can mail it to, but that's not public, so that's a really good idea. But it will be a bit strange if we open a forum on. Yeah, okay, but it looks so different from this side, so it's hard to think, oh, those two are connected. Yeah, okay, or just a direct link to the lesion.
Of course, that is.
Maybe you think about other repository?
Yeah, that also. I started this with scripts, but actually the scripts are uploaded, and you can think, well, you can also upload modules. So this is pretty generic module which I've written. You can upload all kinds of stuff to it. And actually I have tested this, and we have some advanced feature which is lying around which we are not using quite yet, but people will also can start a Python script in Blender, and you will get like in the Python window a list with modules which you can search. So it's like browsing the website without browsing the websites. It's internal in Blender. You can, okay, I want this model, and you'll automatically download the module and insert it into the same with scripts and the same with some scripts. Textures, yeah, that's really good. That's the one that we started. Last one, the really last one.
Are we going to add user ratings for all those tutorial scripts and whatever?
Yeah, the same thing. Yeah, the difficulty is now is reviewed by the one who posts the link in the backend system. But of course, when you have front-end users and you're logged in, you can rate this link, so to speak. You can, I think you can already do that now. Of course, yeah. Okay, that was the last question. Thank you for listening, and